In this video, I'm going to investigate the behavior of this function. That means I'm going to find the asymptote for this function as x approaches either positive infinity or negative infinity. And of course, there may be vertical asymptotes as well. So we're going to investigate vertical and horizontal asymptotes for this function. But let's go ahead and do the positive infinity part first. So let's say my case 1. As x approaches positive infinity, what happens to this function? As it is, it kind of looks like that it's an infinity over infinity situation. That means the numerator goes to infinity and the denominator goes to infinity as well. So it kind of looks like infinity over infinity situation, and we don't know what value is it approaching. Please do keep in mind infinity over infinity is not equal to 1, by the way. Now, we are going to do a little bit of manipulation of this function. So this is my f of x as given here. Look at the highest power of x in the numerator and the denominator. In both cases, it is the same, by the way. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be dividing the numerator and the denominator by the highest power of x. In this case, 2, the highest power. So I'm going to divide both the numerator and the denominator by x square. So I'm dividing it by x square. In that case, what happens? In the numerator, I get 2 minus 3 over x plus 7 over x square. And in the denominator, I get 5 plus 7 over x minus 2 over x square. Now, as x approaches positive infinity, what happens to the function f of x? This is the same function as this one, by the way. 3 over x goes to 0, 7 over x square goes to 0. Same for the denominator. 7 over x goes to 0 and 2 over x square goes to 0. So everything that has x in the denominator that goes to 0. So that leaves me with the possibility that f of x approaches the value 2 over 5. So in essence, as x approaches positive infinity, f of x approaches 2 over 5. And the same for negative infinity too. As x approaches so that's case number 2, by the way. Case 2, as x approaches negative infinity, what happens? X approaches negative infinity. Again, f of x is gonna approach 2 over 5. Because it doesn't matter whether x goes towards positive infinity or negative infinity. 3 over x goes to 0. 7 over x square goes to 0. Then in the denominator, 7 over x goes to 0. And 2 over x square goes to 0 as well, as x goes to negative infinity. Now, how it goes to 0, it depends, right? If you're going towards negative infinity, these values, these 7 over x or 2 over x square approaching 0 from the negative side. Actually, for square, it's in the positive side, I guess, right? But it doesn't really matter for us so long it's approaching 0. So in either of these cases, f of x approaches 2 over 5. So f of x approaches 2 over 5. Now, there is case 3 and maybe potentially case 4. Case 3. Is there a vertical asymptote? The answer is yes. So 5x squared plus 7x minus 2. I just randomly picked this quadratic polynomial, right? But it has a solution, right? You can use x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4a times c divided by 2 times a, where a is 5, b is 7, and c is negative 2. So you can solve it. Let's say you get two values, okay? X is equal to x1, okay? And x is equal to x2. Now I have to be a little bit careful here. B square minus 4ac, the discriminant b square is 49, 4 times a times c is gonna be 40. So you're okay. So it's gonna have two roots. Okay, I was thinking whether it had complex roots. No, it has two real roots. So let's say x1 is the one real root and x2 is the other real root. So in that case, the denominator is gonna be 0 when x1 is 0, x is equal to x1, and the denominator is going to be 0 when x is equal to x2. In those cases, you will have vertical asymptotes. So vertical asymptotes are going to be at x is equal to x1 and at x is equal to x2. And what values does the function approach? It approaches either positive infinity or negative infinity, depending on how it works out, okay? Which side are you approaching from? If you have a vertical asymptote right here at this point, let's say x is equal to x1, if you have approach from the right, you will get 1 infinity. If you approach from the left, you will get the other one probably. So this is how you figure out asymptotes for a function. So this is a rational function. And the exponent, highest power of the numerator is the same as the highest power of the denominator in this function. So it's gonna approach the value, which is gonna be the ratio of the coefficients of the numerator of the highest power. Highest power of the numerator, which is x square, right? So coefficient of x square is 2, coefficient of x square is 5 in the denominator. So the function is going to approach the value 2 over 5 and 2 over 5. And the vertical asymptote, it just goes towards either positive infinity or negative infinity. I hope that this discussion was helpful. Thank you very much.